NFL draft and rookies. Hell yeah.
Podcast off the rails already.
But there is not a chance in hell Justin Fields is finishing in the top 10.
There you know what, Mikey? Shut it.
He wants
Why
it.
not?
You don't want the smoke.
He's Calvin Johnson. He's Calvin
Oh,
Johnson.
good.
Oh,
God.
my
Yes,
God.
yes, and yes.
What are we gonna do with you?
It just, it adds a little extra flavor to the podcast.
I think you're disrespecting David Njoku.
Thank God
Yeah.
for Joe Flacco. That's all I can say. I'll help the owners. Don't draft Kadarius Toney.
I have to give the people what they want. I mean, come on. I'm going to milk it. I'm going to milk it for all it's worth.
I'll give you something to milk.
Let's rock and roll.
What is up, MHA owners? It is time to reflect on Week 7 here on the MHA podcast. A lot to talk about, a lot of exciting games, and we're here to talk about how all the matchups went here in this MHA Week 7. Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mikey Renaud. Gentlemen, what's going on? Is Lamar Jackson the MVP of the league? Mikey?
Of the NFL or of our fantasy league?
No, the NFL.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah, give it to him.
Sure, why not? He's the one that stands out above the rest.
Yeah, I mean, he's
No
been really
McCaffrey.
good.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
I say I say Derrick Henry.
Oh, Derrick Henry. I don't know. It's tough when a quarterback's playing that well. I don't disagree with you. I mean, Derrick Henry's been incredible. He might be more the MHA MVP.
Or offensive player.
Yeah, that's
of
probably
the
more
year.
likely for him.
Yeah.
See, I don't like that either because technically Lamar Jackson, I hate when they do that. Technically, Lamar Jackson is an offensive player. So what's the difference?
You know how it goes with quarterbacks. It's like, oh, well, they call the plays, they make the throws. Quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson can run the ball. Fortunately, he has not done a lot in the playoffs, but that's not what this is about, I guess. But Lamar Jackson looked pretty good on Monday night. That's the whole point. He looked pretty incredible. So what are we going to talk about on this show? Well, the usual. We'll look back on the Week 7 matchups, maybe do some MHA trivia, studs, duds, and, of course, some news. So let's get into that.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
Well, it is Wednesday, so there's a lot of news. So if I miss something, let me know. I may ask you guys a question or two as we go through the news. But the big news, I wondered why Mikey picked up DeAndre Hopkins this morning, and I figured out why a few minutes later. The Kansas City Chiefs are acquiring the 5-time Pro Bowler. He's going to join that wide receiver core that's been dealing with injuries all season. The Titans receive a conditional 5th-round pick that could turn into a 4th. Mikey, give us some of your thoughts on picking up DeAndre Hopkins, one of the new wide receivers for Patrick Mahomes and that offense.
Low risk, high reward. That's all it was. I woke up this morning. It was like maybe the first thing that when I turned on the TV, it said breaking news. And so I was like, I knew Aaron had just dropped him, so I didn't know if he was going to still like clear waivers yet. And I was like, well, I why not? Why not go for it? I need depth. I'm not expecting a whole lot from it. It's not like Mahomes has been great.
Yeah.
So, just
Why not?
went for, maybe something comes out of it. And then I look like a genius.
That's the Todd mentality. Why not?
No, it's what
it's
the
good.
hell.
I think any of us would have saw that. We would have picked it up too. I was late to the party. You probably woke up before I did. So there you go. DeAndre Hopkins, no longer with the Titans. He's with the Chiefs. Andy Dalton involved in a car crash and will not start this week. So good old Bryce Young back in the mix. Dalton dealing with a sprained thumb. Can't throw with a sprained thumb. Good Lord. He's NFL prima donnas.
Wait a minute. Was he involved in an actual car crash or were they just
Correct.
talking about the Panthers?
Oh, snap. Either way, it's not looking good.
That just means Broncos defense is going to look really good this week. Woo!
Oh, that stinks for me. Oh, well. But yeah, so for those, anybody that has Carolina Panther parts, Andy Dalton, not in the mix. He made some of those guys relevant. How about more quarterback news? Famous Jameis Winston will be starting for the Cleveland Browns. Dorian Thompson-Robinson status up in the air, dealing with a finger issue. Another finger issue. What's going on with people's fingers these days? And so Jameis Winston going to be starting. I don't know if that's exciting for all those Browns skilled players. I don't know how many there is, but Nick Chubb, I guess. Gonzo Cats wide receiver Chris Godwin. Oh man, likely done for the season. Needs surgery for his dislocated ankle. He hurt it on the final drive of the game. I don't know if you guys were watching, but Joe Buck said previous to that play that he wasn't sure why the starters were still in the game, and boom, Godwin dislocates his ankle and is carted off. Broadcaster's jinx, indeed. So that is tough for Gonzo Cats, who, of course, Chris Godwin, I think, was he the number 1 wide receiver last week? And so done for the season, more than likely. So that's tough to see. How about more Bucks wide receiver news? Eating W's and his Mike Evans. He caught 1 pass this week, but it was for a touchdown. But then his hamstring. So I guess he's been dealing with that for a little bit of time now. Definitely not going to play this week. I don't know who the next man up for that Bucks wide receiver core. Is it Jalen Wright? Is that correct?
I think so.
Or McMillan?
McMillan.
Is it Jalen McMillan?
No.
Either way, not good. Someone good for me and my Cade Otton. So take that, Todd. Cade Otton in your face.
Yeah.
How about a trade update? Butterfingers traded away Brandon Ayuk for Mr. Darnell Mooney from Eaton W's. Well, guess what? Brandon Ayuk will be placed on injured reserve, tearing his ACL. Todd wins the trade, I guess.
Yeah. It's
I mean, I
feel bad, but
do you? I don't. You shouldn't.
I mean, Ayuk wasn't doing anything anyway, so maybe wants to get an early jump start on the off season. But yeah, it sucks. You don't want a player to, if you trade a player away, you hope he just has a mediocre rest of the season, but an injury, that's tough. But hey, I'm
you won the trade.
I won the trade.
Still playing next week. Whether you start him or not doesn't matter. You still have an active player.
Or Kevin put it to me when he said, "Damn it, Todd, you and your voodoo."
Todd's got some voodoo, apparently. Not in the win column, but he's got some voodoo somewhere.
I got some voodoo.
How about the rest of the 49ers skilled players? Deebo Samuel, Juwan Jennings, George Kittle, all did not practice on Wednesday. Doesn't mean they won't play, but, it's always something to monitor as we get closer. Lemonheads wide receiver Jamison Williams facing a 2-game suspension after violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substance policy. Great. Not that he was great at all this past weekend, but depth disappearing for the next couple weeks for Eric's squad. Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers, he did not practice today. How about Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen? Had his 21-day practice window open. Probably not relevant, but I typed it anyway. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, he returned back to practice, but on limited basis today. He's been dealing with an ankle thing. How about Colts wide receivers Josh Downs dealing with a toe and groin injury? He did not practice. And of course, Michael Pittman also did not practice. He's dealing with a back issue. Browns running back Jerome Ford still not practicing, hamstring thing. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp, no injury designation heading into the Thursday night game, so he should be playing. Lion Rip has him. Is that correct?
No,
Yes.
I think Joe has him.
Joe has him. Oh, man, Joe's good already. Son of a gun. Tua Tagovailoa returned to practice on a limited basis. So for those Dolphin skilled player owners, praying that he gets into the game. I saw Tyreek Hill tweet saying, "We're back." So I guess he figures Tua's going to play. But Waddle, Achane, Mostert, Tyreek Hill, keep an eye. See if Tunga plays this week. Tagovailoa, excuse me. Pats running back Ramondre Stevenson. What a terrible season he's had. Did not practice, foot injury. Derek Carr won't play this week. Spencer Rattler back for another start for the Saints. And Saints players, Alvin Kamara limited in today's practice. Chris Olave also limited, and Taysom Hill also limited. Anything else I missed? Anything from your team you guys want to talk about?
God, it sounds like a medical ward. You just
It's always tough on Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean,
so much news that's apparently relevant.
Yeah, it sound like you were reading off a list at a medical ward, but no, that's tough. It's tough either way for whether you have.
There's a lot more, but I just tried to limited.
No,
Or I'd
that's
be here. The
no.
whole show would be injury updates.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that.
Absolutely not. No.
Especially since I won this week. Let's get into those Week 7 recaps. Let's kick things off with the defending champs, who took on the top team in the MHA and Kilgore Trout. Not a very high scoring affair, but Joe's squad got a quick 17 points from Jags wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. has been good this year, and 14 points from T. Higgins, but just a mere 33 points from Joe Burrow against the usually stout Cleveland defense. Kilgore Trout finished with 125 points, pretty low total for one of the higher scoring teams in the league. Things weren't looking good for Kilgore Trout as Todd still had his quarterback to go in the afternoon until Jaden Daniels went down with an injury. Gosh, they were playing Carolina. Could have lit them up. He was knocked out of the game with a rib injury, managed only 7 points, and Todd's goose was cooked. Despite a big 29 points from Jahmyr Gibbs and 22 massive points from the Broncos defense, Kilgore's Washington kicker had more points than Daniels did, 17 to 7 points. Unfortunate break for the Butterfingers, who falls to 2-5, while Kilgore Trout sneaks out a 125-107 victory and improves to 6-1. Todd, what do you want to say about your weekend? Just a tough break. If Jane Daniels has a normal 35 to 40 point day, you come out with a victory. Unfortunately, you're down in the dumps with yours truly at 2-5.
Yeah, and that's fantasy football for you in a nutshell. When I didn't see the game, but I was seeing highlights, and it didn't even look like, when Jaden Daniels went down, he didn't even look like he got hit. He just kind of like either slid awkwardly or something, and then he was holding his wrist. I'm like, oh my God, what now? But yeah, that's just the breaks of it. But hey, double digits for my tight end. Wow, haven't seen that in a while. So good on Hunter Henry there for nice 12 points there. So maybe I found my David Njoku. Maybe we'll see. I'm not holding my breath there, but yeah, ultimately, when your quarterback goes down early and at least doesn't get you a decent amount of points before he maybe gets injured, it's tough. So you gotta just move on to the next week. And like you said, Eric, what's going on with the Rubik's Cube? I don't know. Shall we?
We shall. How about the second-ranked team in the MHA, 5-1? Notorious CUP battling 2-4 Gonzo Cats. Those Cats didn't have DeAndre Swift due to the bye week, and Notorious CUP without CeeDee Lamb. Of course, the Cowboys run a bye. Holland's starting quarterback Josh Allen put together yet another 45-plus point output this week. Drake London continues to love his life with Kirk Cousins, 15 points for the Falcons wide receiver. And how about Kyle Pitts? Double figures with 10. Awesome. On the other side of the coin, CUP got 40 points from Sam Darnold. Kenny Walker, man, another great week, 22 points. And we haven't talked much about Alexander Madison because he was so bad 1 year ago, but he's been productive. 13 points for the Las Vegas running back. And the Eagles sacked Daniel Jones 8 times, forcing the Giants to bench the highly paid quarterback in favor of Drew Lock. Philly's defense scored 16 points, and CUP scores a meager 124 points, but it was enough to take down the Gonzo Cats, who only managed 116. CUP stays in second place at 6-1. Gonzo Cats at 2-5. How about the highest scoring team of the week? The Lion Rip squad. They racked up 149 points and a big blowout of the Belt Sanders, who only scored 79. That's not a good number. Seven of the Lion Rip's 9 starting players had 12 or more points, including 17 from Justin Jefferson, 19 from Aaron Jones, and 2 touchdowns from Mark Andrews, who can go himself. And how about 18 points from Broncos kicker Will Lutz? Not much to say about the Belt Sanders, who continues to have a lackluster season. From Patrick Mahomes, just 28 points, no points from Deebo Samuel, who was sick, played 3 snaps, and decided he was too sick to play. Ramondre Stevenson, only 18 rushing yards on 4 points. Travis Kelce stinks again, 4 points from Taylor Swift's boyfriend, and 4 points from Xavier Worthy. Line Rip, over 500 at 4-3. Belt Sanders alone in last place at 1-6. How about yours truly? They avoided also falling to 1-6, scoring the second highest point total on the weekend, piling 143 points in the 16-point victory. There it is, over Chad Powers fan club. While it was a bad start for Miles' squad, who left Javonte Williams and his 24 points on the bench, It was a last-second change for Eric's teams. They switched out Bucky Irvin for Tank Bigsby and the Jags running back, and he went on to score 23 points in that 7:30 game. The combo of Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown combined for 64 points. And how about Kyron Williams, who continues to fall in the end zone? He has scored a touchdown in every game this season, including 2 this week against Las Vegas. He scored 19. Chad Powers fan club, they got a big day from Chiefs starting running back Kareem Hunt, who had 2 rushing touchdowns and 22 points. A.J. Brown scored a touchdown in all 3 games he has played this season. He had 15 against the Giants. Heading into the Monday night game, the Lemonheads had a 60-point lead with Tampa Bay tight end Kate Otten still left to go, and Justin Herbert and James Conner still have to play for my opponent. Herbert made it interesting. He piled up a lot of completions and 349 pass yards, but he never found the end zone. And so Conner and Otten kind of canceled each other out. Lemonheads hold on for the 143-127 win. Yours truly at 2-5. Chad Powers under 500 at 3-4. How about those hot tamales? They stop a 2-game skid this weekend, facing off against the NWA. Not a lot of points in this matchup, but there were some big-time performances. How about Saquon Barkley in the revenge game? 176 rush yards, 2 receptions, and a rushing touchdown, 26 points. On the other side, 14 points from DK Metcalf, who has reached double digits in 4 of 7 games this season. This matchup went to Monday night. Hot Tamales were up 101-53 with Derrick Henry left and NWA with Lamar Jackson left. Mikey kept saying, as long as Lamar didn't go off, he'd be fine. But guess what? Lamar went off and went wild against that Buccaneers defense to the tune of 61 points. 5 pass touchdowns, 281 yards passing. But luckily for the Tamales, one of the passing touchdowns went to Derrick Henry, who finished with 24 points. Mikey's team ends the losing streak, wins 125-115. Mikey, what do you want to say about your weekend here? Derrick Henry saving the day once again.
I was sweating bullets on Monday night. I gotta admit, because at halftime of that game, like, I was down.
No way.
Yeah, and so I was just like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen here, because Lamar at that point, he had almost 40 points at the half. And at that point, Derrick Henry had 2 points at halftime.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that much.
And J.K. Dobbins also had 2 points at halftime. And
so Dobbins going at the same time? My mistake.
I did. And so, yeah, I was just like, oh, this doesn't look good. The way that Lamar is going, how is Derrick Henry going to beat, him and Dobbins beat Lamar in the second half? And I think it happened maybe mid to late in that third quarter when he broke that 81-yard run.
Yeah.
Which was a quick 8 points, which gave me the lead back. And then even still sweating that last drive because they were still throwing. And thank goodness that touchdown went to Derrick Henry, because, I mean, if it goes elsewhere, who knows what happens. I mean, it's just craziness. But, yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry, I think he had 169 rush yards, and 150 of those were in the second half. So,
wow. Well, the broadcaster was even saying they weren't running him a lot. I don't know if he was being punished for something or the game script that they had planned out. But they were saying like how much they were utilizing during the season, but they didn't utilize it much in that first half.
No, it was just a game plan, because I mean,
Okay.
and it's what I was worried about, because if you look at, I mean, every single game that Tampa Bay has played this season, their pass defense is just downright.
Yeah.
It is awful. And so the plan was to score on them by throwing, because they don't cover anybody. I mean, even Bo Nix had a great game against them. Like, so I think what happened is once they built up that lead on all those passing touchdowns, and they started playing the pass, and it left the run open in that second half where they just pummeled them. But thanks goodness for that, because it was scary, scary close call. I mean, that's for sure.
Derrick Henry, MHA MVP, as we were talking about, came up big, helped him pass 60-some points from Lamar Jackson. Crazy stuff. Last matchup, we'll finish here with another close battle between Eaton W's and Cooper's Cousins. That was 4-2 versus 3-3. Cooper's Cousins quarterback Jordan Love threw for 3 more touchdowns on his way to 46 points. First round pick Bijan Robinson has put together back-to-back weeks of 20 or more points. And but he had a big goose egg from Tank Dell, who, of course, we know that Nico Collins not even in the mix. No catches on 4 targets. Kevin Squad didn't get much from his quarterback, just 15 from C.J. Stroud, but got 13 points from new Bills wide receiver and Amari Cooper scored a touchdown, and 20 points from Brees Hall. And how about 25 points from Joe Mixon, who we put back in the starting lineup? Heading into Monday night, Cooper's cousins needed big days from Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Chargers kicker with Eaton W's running Mike Evans, and the Ravens kicker. Evans caught 1 pass, but it was for a touchdown before he left the game with a hamstring injury. Marvin Harrison Jr. caught 3 catches for 4 total points. Not a great day there. The Chargers kicker did pile up 21 points, but Justin Tucker managed to hit double figures, which was just enough for Kevin's team to take the 135-126 win. Reeton W's improves to 4-3. Cooper's Cousins falls to 4-3. The only dough of the week I noticed, and maybe you guys saw something different, but is it Todd's Jaden Daniels over Brock Purdy, 34-7?
I mean, it's the only option, really, because
I didn't see anything else close.
I know we hate doing it because injury,
Yeah, exactly.
But honestly, like, I looked and there is just not
Nothing
any
else.
other options.
You're right. I didn't see anybody else. I'm sorry, Todd. It might be you this week.
That's okay. That's all right.
Todd's fine with it.
That's cool. Okay.
You
That's
did
all
win the
right.
Brandon Ayuk trade.
It's small
So
victory. Small. Hey, I gotta get the victories as many small victories as I can get. So,
yeah, you have 2 quarterbacks. You really have none, I guess.
Yeah. So bring on the dough.
Let's do some MHA trivia.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
All right, gentlemen. Let's talk about touchdowns. Who has the most touchdowns from non-quarterbacks? So that's what we're going to do. Whoever gets to 4 points first will win MHA trivia. So I'm looking for touchdown leaders by non-quarterbacks. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
All right, Todd, we always let you go first. I have a list here that goes from, what we got here? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 names, but I'm looking for the top 10.
Okay.
And of course, there's guys that are tied and blah, 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 blah. So we'll roll with that. So Todd, give me a name.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Yeah, that is correct. That's pretty good. Derrick Henry so far, 10 touchdowns, and he leads the way alone at the top. So Todd gets the easy one. Over to Mikey Renault.
Okay, I'll cherry pick off the one you gave away, which was Kyron Williams.
What? I gave that away? Yeah, the whole reason I looked at this one, because I was trying to figure out, because Kyron Williams has scored a rushing touchdown in 9 straight games. I couldn't find the list. I don't know where that list is. It's hidden. I know LaDainian Tomlinson has the most, but that's where I was going to go with MHA trivia. Couldn't find it, so we went with touchdowns. Either way, Mikey gets a point. Back to you, Todd. We're tied 1-1.
Let's go with Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. That's your boy, right?
Yeah.
And that's also a correct answer. Alvin Kamara, 7 touchdowns. Way to go. Todd takes the lead. Back to Mikey.
I will go with David Montgomery, because it seems like he's been scoring almost every game, and I have not played him once this year.
You haven't played him once?
No.
I hate you so much. But it's a correct answer. He's got 6 touchdowns. So not every game. Oh, they've had a bye, haven't they? Yes, they have. So yeah, in every game. Well done, David Montgomery. Tied 2-2. Back to Todd.
Let's go with my Detroit running back in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, you really think he's in the top 10? Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He is 6 touchdowns as well. So he's tied with his running mate in David Montgomery. Well done, Todd. So Jahmyr Gibbs. Back to Mikey Renault.
I wanted to go with Saquon, but I'm a little worried that Jalen Hurts' sniping of his touchdowns may not put him in there, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go with Saquon.
Oh, No, I'm kidding. You're correct. He also has 6 touchdowns. Well done, Saquon Barkley. We are tied at 3-3. We're gonna move this game up to the best. Whoever gets to 5 first, because you guys are doing so well. So we're gonna keep going. Back to you, Todd.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. So close. He has 5 touchdowns. But he's outside that top 10.
Ooh.
All right. So back to Mikey.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I mean, most of these have to be running backs. I'm just trying to.
There's a lot of running backs. Yes. There's a wide receiver, a couple of wide receivers in that mix.
So we've been switching between me and Todd's team all this time. So I'll go with Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason. No, I don't even have him on my list. So let's look him up and see how many touchdowns he has on. He's been kind of, I won't say not great, but I haven't really heard from him in terms of like big stats. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season. Back to you. As soon as I say you guys are doing great, you both don't get one. We'll try again. Back to you, Todd.
Let's go with. Well, he's injured now, but Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. Nope, I'm sorry. I pitched the wrong one. I'm sorry, Todd. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's right there. But he is not in the top 10. Back to you, Miguel.
Thinking. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
I've mentioned a couple of these guys in the recap today, if that helps at all.
I'm sure you did.
A couple of guys I didn't mention in the recap.
I don't know. You said receiver, so I'll go with Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. He had that really big game. Is he in the top 10? He's got 6 touchdowns. Well done, Miguel. Jamar Chase in the mix.
Lucky guess.
Well, I'm so proud of you. Back to Todd. Todd, you need a point here. Who we missing?
Mike Evans.
Ooh, Mike Evans. That's very good. He's got 6 touchdowns. Now you guys are starting to pick it up here. Mikey, a chance for you to win MHA trivia.
Jeez, I pulled
We're
that
missing 1, 2, 3 names here in the top 10.
Okay. I'll go with Bijan Robinson.
Perusing the list. That is correct. Mikey wins MHA trivia. Bijan Robinson's. Oh, hold on a second. I think I gave you the wrong one. Oh, what? Hold on a second here. Let's look up Bijan Robinson. Oh. So sorry, he's got 4 touchdowns. Well, that one takes Brian Robinson off the board, who's got 6 touchdowns. We might have to go into the next mix here, but back to you, Todd. A chance here.
Let's go with you said Brian Robinson Jr.
That's who I mistake for Bijan Robinson.
Oh, okay.
There are still 2 names here in the top 10.
Okay. 2 names. Let's go.
Both running backs.
Both running backs. Reese Hall.
Reese Hall from the New York Jets. No, I don't have him on my list. Looking him up, he's got 4 total touchdowns. Mikey, another chance to finish things out here.
Oh, the pressure. Let's see. I am going to go with. Why is this so difficult?
Couple of running backs. One's been pretty consistent. The other one's had some big games.
Yeah.
Didn't help.
No.
Trying to find ways to give clues without giving it away.
I'll go with James Conner.
Oh, James Conner from the Cardinals. No, I don't have him on my list. I don't even have him in the next round as I type up his name. James Conner. Why is this not popping up? He has 3 touchdowns. Back to Todd. One of these guys has 7 touchdowns. One has 6.
Okay, how about
doesn't
James Cook?
James Cook, the guy from my team.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
Mikey knows. Yeah,
Well,
James Cook.
I know the other one. That's why.
Oh, who's the other one?
So the other one's got to be Kenneth Walker. I'm such an idiot.
I wouldn't say you're an idiot. You usually win, but Todd wins MHA trivia. Kenny Walker with 7 touchdowns. James Cook with 6. Some of the guys with 5 in the next round. Lazard, he's got 5 touchdowns. George Kittle, he's got 5. Joe Mixon with 5. Amon-Ra St. Brown 5. And Drake London, he's got 5 as well. Oh, good job, gentlemen. Todd, you win. Congrats.
Yay!
Yeah, I want some more enthusiasm than that. How
There
often
you go.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe it'll start a winning streak.
Hey,
Let's not get crazy. Let's talk about some studs.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Mikey, since you lost, you can give me the first stud of the week.
Well,
Loser.
because he won me the game, my first stud is going to be Derrick Henry.
What?
You mentioned double-digit touchdowns in 7 games. He almost has 900 yards rushing on the year, which seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's on pace to break the NFL record for rushing yards in a season.
No, really?
Yes, he is.
Wow, that's a great stat.
I mean, there's 17 games, so you got to take that into account.
Still.
But yeah, still, I mean, it's over the age of 30. It's just remarkable how well he's doing. It's been a great draft pick. You know, I was in that second round choosing between him and Kyron Williams, and it looks like I would have been good either way.
Well, Henry has 157 points. Kyron Williams, 113. Henry does have one more game because Kyron has had a bye week. But if we could all go back, we would all draft Derrick Henry first. He has been incredible. Helping Mikey out, avoid falling for the 3rd straight week. Todd, give me a stud.
I'm gonna go with Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
You know, if I don't know, I was kind of skeptical when he was back in with the Bengals, excuse me, and but he makes a big difference in that offense when they run the ball. It really makes a difference when CJ Stroud has Joe Mixon in the game. Obviously, I know he was hurt from weeks 3 all the way to week 3, 4, and 5, but he makes a big difference in that running game. So 29 points this week, so good on him.
Yeah, and Kevin kind of needed all of that to make sure he came out. He's had one bad week on the year, but he's had 159 yards rushing, 102 yards rushing, 115 yards rushing. He has missed 3 games with injuries, but when he's been out there, he's caught in a couple passes as well. So just continues to do what he did with Cincinnati, just more on a winning team. So, I mean, not that Cincinnati was bad, but, you know, I think we all believe that Houston's more of a playoff team right now than the Bengals are. But that's not a bad pick as well. One stud that jumped out at me this past week was just good old Aaron Jones, who continues to have a good season. 19 points, 93 rush yards, a touchdown, 3 reception, and did so against Lions defense, who's usually pretty good against running backs. He's had double figures in 4 of 6 games. A lot of folks wrote him off because he did not have a great season with the Packers 1 season ago, but he comes out here and just does Aaron Jones things. I don't know if he's up to Todd's standards of what he likes to see from Aaron Jones, but in an age where there's not a lot of great running backs out on the market, Aaron Jones has been pretty consistent for Aaron this season. Mikey, who else you got as a stud?
I feel like just to be an asshole, I have to mention Mark Andrews.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks in a row, he's been good. I don't know how much of it I believe, though, because it's not like his playing time has seemed like an uptick or anything like that. He's still not running a lot of routes. He's just getting touchdowns. So it's good for Aaron that they're using him down there. I mean, 18 points is huge for him considering how bad he's been.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much I actually believe that this is a thing.
Yeah, just 22 targets on the season, 17 receptions, 3 touchdowns, both coming in the last 2 weeks. He's just benefiting from that Ravens offense that is just on fire right now. He just grabs a ball, catches it, and falls into the end zone. So, I mean, even despite that, what is he at? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. He's 10th. He's top 10 in fantasy points for tight ends because he has 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Funny stuff. Good old Mark Andrews. How about you, Todd? Any other studs this week?
Well, I think we're gonna have to give Mikey his props on this one.
Do
But
we have to do that?
I really don't. I don't want
You
to
pat him
either.
on the back enough.
Yeah, we do, but Sam Darnold. I mean, Mikey said it. Mikey said this was his, this was his best opportunity, probably in the best offense that he's been in, as a starter. But Sam Darnold's only had one bad week, and that was right before the bye against the Jets. But 40 points for him. I think gonna have to start, really taking Sam Darnold, for real. I mean, I know he, they had their first loss, but he's. I mean, I don't think any of us would have thought, in the summer when we were doing quarterback rankings, like, oh, Sam Darnold's going to be up there. No freaking way. But another good week for him.
I don't like it. No,
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
As it turns out, I was right on a lot of things.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Right now, Darnold's 7th. No, hold on. That was this past week. Give me a second here to see where he is on the season. Obviously, there's some bye weeks out there, so take that for what it's worth. But I mean, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20th. He's 20th. It's fine. He's had some good weeks. He's had a bye, so he's in an 18-point game.
I think
the thing that we need to say is that we were concerned about Justin Jefferson because of Sam Darnold, and Justin Jefferson's been just fine.
Yep, that was the point.
So that's the point of the whole thing. Justin Jefferson, 5th. So, but he's not better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I picked over him. So
that wasn't the discussion, by the way.
Take that.
That was not the discussion, by the way. It was Jamar Chase.
Well, Jamar Chase is 2nd.
Okay. So you're okay there too.
Another stud for me. Kind of have to bring it back up again. I have up here Brian Thomas. We haven't really talked a lot about Brian Thomas Jr., but 83 points, 30 receptions, 513 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This is a guy that Kilgore Trout's been running out there. As bad as Jacksonville has been at times, as bad as Trevor Lawrence has been at times, we had Brian Thomas kind of around that 3rd wide receiver. I mean, Christian Kirk was obviously in the mix before that. Gabe Davis, Evan Ingram, of course, Travis Etienne, like all of these guys, like, oh, these guys are going to benefit, and Brian Thomas may come around later. This dude has had 17 or more points in 3 of the last 4 weeks. He's been his most consistent offensive player. Kirk, irrelevant. Just has not done anything. And so Brian Thomas is the one that's kind of been most secure. I mean, Evan Ingram's been hurt, fine. But it's really been Brian Thomas Jr. And, of course, Kilgore Trout's got a great team, and he's got some depth. He gets Cooper Kupp back. Maybe I need to trade him running back, but he's been doing pretty well. But, yeah, that was another one I thought of. Let's go over to the duds.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Todd, you want to give me a dud you want to smash?
Marvin Harrison Jr., only 4 points. I don't know. I mean, obviously I was very, high on him. And yeah, like, oh, he's going to be rookie of the year, he's had some good weeks in between week 2, 3, and 4, double digits, but, then he had a dud against San Francisco, and then really nothing against Green Bay, and then only 4 points against the Chargers. So I don't know if it's something with him or with Kyler Murray or whatever the case may be.
Or maybe I'm just right. You guys are wrong.
Yes, you're right, Eric. Of course.
No,
course.
I think we're both right because I think. Well, here's the thing. So look. Um,
Shut up, Sean Payton. I don't need to hear your
I,
nonsense.
Look,
I had mentioned after the draft, and this had to do with Dylan's team, is that his team was very boomer bust. I think that's what Marvin Harrison is. Like he's not his dad, like where he's going to get you consistent numbers every week. He's going to throw out some duds, but then he's going to throw up weeks where he gets into the 20s, high 20s, maybe even 30s someday. I mean, he's that type of player.
well, and two, it helps. I mean, obviously, you take this for whatever it's worth. What I'm about to say, but he had Peyton Manning throwing him the football. Let's be realistic, too. I mean, Marvin Harrison was
Kyler Murray's
Marvin.
not bad.
I know he's not bad, but he ain't Peyton Manning. I'll tell you that. Not hating, but I'm just saying, as good as Marvin Harrison was, and he's a Hall of Famer, he had Peyton Manning throwing him the football, and that just made him better. So
Marvin Harrison Jr. is like DJ Moore. He's which Dylan also has. It's the same thing. You're going to get really gigantic games, and you're going to get games where you're like, ugh, it's terrible.
Terrible.
gross.
Mikey, give me a dud.
All right, I'm going to do this just because I feel like it might be my last chance to do this, depending on what happens. But I got to go at Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yeah.
One catch. That seems like bad coaching to me. Like, I don't care
Preach.
who's throwing the ball, if it's Snoop Huntley, or
Todd
Todd
Diamond.
Diamond. Yeah. I mean, you're telling me you can't drop like a couple screen passes for somebody like him? Like, to at least get him something? Like somebody that's that dynamic, you can't throw it to him 2 yards off the line of scrimmage to where he can run for 10 yards?
Hand the ball off to him, for God's sakes. He's
Yeah,
a
right.
freak
Yeah.
in cleats. Like, why is this difficult? Is he trying to run the same offense and he's failing because he doesn't want to change the playbook or something? It's not working.
Yeah.
Get that man the ball, for crying out loud. He's amazing. Jalen Waddle, amazing. Devin Achane, amazing. You're telling me that Tua's the only reason these guys are good? I agree with you. It's bad coaching.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's like-
egotistical. It's so full of himself
Could
that
be.
I'm just going to do the same thing I normally do and it's going to succeed. No. Tua's a different
No.
type of quarterback.
Yep. That's like saying not getting the ball to Christian McCaffrey, not finding ways to get him the
Dumb.
football. Dumb.
Dumb.
Yep. Gross. Dumb.
I am no expert when it comes to coaching, but I know I need to get the ball in the hands of Tyreek Hill any way I can. Dumb. A dud for me, and I have a couple of them here. I mean, I have to do this one. We talked about Patrick Mahomes. Good
Yeah.
gravy.
My
What's
list.
going on? 28
nobody-
points
He has nobody to throw the football
against
to.
Las
That's why.
Vegas? Well, come on. He hasn't had wide receivers to throw to in years. Now, Travis Kelce is over the hill, and I think that's really showing that long in tooth this season, or he's preoccupied by his girlfriend. But his 28 points saved because of that big run, and he scored a rushing touchdown. Outside of that, 16 completions, 154 yards, and no passing touchdowns. He has had an interception in every game he's played in this year. 2 of them in 2 games this year. He is not. I don't know if it's coaching or if he's not playing as well as he's had. But come on, he's had some mediocre wide receivers and still was able to put up big numbers. I get it. Rasheed Rice is out of the mix, but even with Rasheed Rice, 37 points, 34 points, 34 points, like.
Yeah,
There's something else going on in Patrick Mahomes land. And I don't know if it's the way they're coaching. I don't know if they're just relying on running the ball in defense. But Patrick Mahomes has been a huge, colossal disappointment this year.
Like, I honestly think the Kelsey thing is the big thing. That was like his security blanket. They can't sustain drives because third down, I mean, that was always the thing. Like, it was like third down and run around, find Travis Kelsey and get you that first down. But Kelsey can't get open right now, and so yeah, he doesn't trust anybody else.
Patrick Mahomes, 23rd in the league. Yes, he's only played 6 games compared to some that has 7th, but there's a lot of folks with 6. I mean, Caleb Williams has more fantasy points. Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields has more fantasy points than Patrick Mahomes. Not good, folks. He's got more interceptions than touchdowns. Another dud, Todd?
Devonta Smith.
Yeah, he's on my list too.
Yeah, not even 1 point, barely. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's the Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley running show here, because that's all they seem like they do. Obviously, good for Mikey with Saquon, but yeah, not what you're looking for, because obviously you were looking to see if he could, even get better even from last year, and maybe step up and really be a true number one wide receiver, but this is not his year. It's not his year this year. I mean, he's only had back in week 2 against Atlanta, 16 points, 7 receptions, 76 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's pretty bad. When your best game was about a couple, about 5 weeks ago. So not good, not good.
I think there's a lot of inconsistency with Jalen Hurts and that Philly offense too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, Saquon's been great, as Mikey can tell you. But I think he's carried more of the load than maybe Jalen Hurts have. Now, we've seen A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
In every game. He's missed 3 games, but in the 3 games he's played, he's been tremendous. Scored a touchdown, close to 100 yards every game. But there's weeks where he has 10, like this past week, 28-3, he had 10 completions. Didn't need him to do too much. 16 completions the week before in a loss to Cleveland. 18 completions. Now, we've always known there are games when he has high completion totals. He had 29, 311 in terms of pass yards and a TD and no TDs against New Orleans. So I think it's just inconsistent play from the quarterback. I think some weeks he's had 2 games with 2 or more touchdown passes, but it's mostly been A.J. Brown that it seems to be his first look, and Devontae Smith has not been. And he kind of struggled last year a little bit too. There was weeks where he was fine, but I think he's a long way from where he was 2 years ago, where I think that Philly's offense was rolling on all cylinders. They were scoring 35 points a game. It's not the same. I mean, their offense has been fine because of Saquon, but it hasn't been because of the passing offense, at least from what I've seen. I haven't seen every game either, but just looking at stats, that seems to be a case. Mikey, another dud from this past week.
Yeah, how about Tank Dell?
Oh, man. 0. What? But, I mean, is that his fault or is that the Texans? I think C.J. Stroud had 10 completions, if I got that right.
I mean, I got to put blame on him. Like,
Okay.
this is, basically, he's had 1 good game all year. Like, a lot of people were very high on Tank Dell.
Yeah.
A lot of people. And he has just
I think Todd was one of them.
Yeah, Todd was one of them. And he has been absolutely brutal. Like, he had the 1 game against New England. But besides that, like, I know Stroud was bad, but Tank Dell has been one of the biggest busts of the fantasy year so far.
Yeah, I don't remember where he went in the draft, but he's not paying off from whatever it was. I think there's probably a lot more to discuss, and there's a lot of options, obviously, too. I mean, Joe Mixon was great this week. Tank Dell was not. No Nico Collins. Well, that didn't seem to factor in this decision, but he's, a big-time 0 when Cooper's Cousins needed him desperately. Not going to help.
He was a 6th round pick.
So 6th round. So, yeah, relatively important. Need production. Starting wide receiver territory. I agree with that. One last dud from me. And, gosh, I hate going back to Mikey because he's right about this one too. But how about good old Sam Laporta? Oh, boy. 31 points scored by the Lions this past week, and he had 1 catch, 25 yards. He has yet to reach double figures in any game this season, and that includes scoring a touchdown. How do you score a touchdown and not have double figures? But this guy who had 10 touchdowns 1 season ago has not lived up to the hype that came with being the number 1 tight end 1 season ago. I was one of those. I thought, the offense was going to be even better. In some respects, it has been, but it hasn't been because Sam Laporta, 14 catches all season long, 1 touchdown. Yuck. And tight ends in general have been a pain in the butt, but this is bust territory.
Yeah,
Big time bust territory.
What I did not like about him was the fact that he was a lot of what made him so great last year was touchdowns, and touchdowns is such a finicky statistic.
Yeah.
Like that's the Mike Evans thing. Like, great one year, next year maybe not as much. And so,
But he had
especially
86 receptions though. Like even if he doesn't, let's say he scores half of those touchdowns, and he still has 80 receptions and 900 yards. I mean, that's still one of the best tight ends in our league this season. So
True.
you figure like how much, that's such a big drop.
And I didn't think he would be this bad. I just didn't think he would be like number one territory because of that. So
yeah. Sam Laporta. Yeesh. All right. Next week's schedule. 6-1 Kilgore Trout taking on 2-5 Gonzo Cats. 6-1 Notorious CUP taking on 4-3 Eaton W's. How about 5-2 Hot Tamales taking on 3-4 Chad Powers Fan Club. 4-3 Cooper's Cousins versus 4-3 Lion Rip. 3-4 NWA versus 1-6 Belt Sanders. And guess what? A couple of 2-5 squads either hoping to get back in the mix or fall even further into the toilet. Butterfingers versus Lemonheads.
All right.
Fun. How are you feeling about this matchup between us, Todd?
Well,
you got Brock Purdy in there right now.
Yes. I mean, the reports, like I said, the reports are still looking like it's going to be doubtful that Jaden Daniels plays. I mean, it'd be nice if he plays, but if he's not even 100%, I'd rather play Brock Purdy just because they're playing Dallas, and that defense is atrocious and gross, and maybe he puts up a lot of points, but it depends on who he's going to throw the ball to. If before you know it, they're going to have to ask some of us to go out there to be wide receivers to throw the ball to. So but the rookie Ricky Pearsall, he's going to be activated, so maybe that wide receiver to for Brock Purdy to throw the ball to. But yeah, it's I'm gonna run with Hunter Henry again. See if we get some double digits there. Like I said, maybe I found my David Njoku this year. Maybe that I might shift something. But yeah, other than that, we'll see what happens. 2-5, can't be any worse. And this is
you can. You can be 2-6.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is a crossroad for our teams, Eric.
It is. This is a big moment in this 2024 season.
This is This is the right here. I think might determine, if I win and I'm 3-5 and you're 2-6, you're like, okay, well,
Todd's hosting the podcast for the rest of the year because I am not showing up.
Exactly.
So if you guys want more podcasts, you root for Eric Lansing this weekend.
And then I won't, and I promise. And then if I lose, then I'll just say every known effigy known to mankind on the podcast.
Not on my podcast, you're not.
Well, so hey, I'm gonna be if I'm 2-6, yeah, you're gonna get some effigies. I'm gonna be like, damn it. But anyway, no. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, you got Kyron Williams Thursday night, so
those are always scary. But that should be a high scoring game. Should be.
Yes. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, there should be a lot of points. So, we always talk about those Thursday night games are always, good and scary at the same time, depending on who, who you have going on the, on those Thursday night games on a short week. But they could help you, and they can also lose you a week. So
here's how it's going to go down, Todd. This
okay,
is
how's
how
it
I'm going to win and you lose, or you win and I lose.
Okay.
If Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
If Tennessee can make it any kind of competitive, I'm going to win the game because Goff and Amon-Ra are going to have great stats. If Detroit is up 25-30-0 or 30-3 or 30-10 at halftime, they're not going to need to put up stats in the second half because Tennessee is bad. So I feel if those two, they may not have to play in the second half against a pretty bad Titans squad.
What do you think?
That makes me nervous, really nervous that they're not playing. Because like last week, we saw it with Minnesota. That was a competitive game. It helped Goff and Brown pick up stats in the second half. If this is a blowout and Tennessee can't do anything against Detroit, Goff could end up with 35. I mean, Amon-Ra could get 10, 12 points because he'll benefit from first half. But man, if Tennessee can't make it competitive, Goff could just end up with 30 points, and then I'm in big trouble.
And they could just sit. They could just sit him in the set. Yeah, that's all. I mean,
just game script. That's all that game script is.
Okay. I mean, yeah, and obviously you wouldn't go nuclear and be like, well, let me play Daniel Jones on a Monday night against.
Oh no,
Pittsburgh.
absolutely not.
Okay,
well,
I mean,
it could be the same thing though in Todd's case, because that San Francisco Dallas game, I mean, Dallas can't stop the run to save their life. So I mean, it's similar to when I play Todd, where it's like Jordan Mason could get all the points and then Purdy doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I mean, Mason is injured right now. Dallas is coming off a bye. There's a lot to prove from Dallas. I don't know what the record is at the moment, but coming off a bye, people are down on them. I will say, looking at Dallas's defense and what they've given up to quarterbacks, they gave up 49 to Jared Goff 2 weeks ago, but then 34, 38, 39, 36, and 36. I mean, that's Deshaun Watson, Carr. They held Lamar Jackson in check. Justin Fields has been solid this year. So, but you're right. It could be more rushing, not a lot of passing opportunities for Purdy. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'd like James Cook to be better. Tank Bigsby, we'll see. I'm trying to decide between him and Bucky Irving, but Irving's dealing with an injury. But if Travis Etienne's back in the mix, that's going to be a tough decision. Chris Olave could be back, but there's no way I'm playing him without Derek Carr. Not that Derek Carr's been good with him either, but Spencer Rattler just hasn't looked good. At least the one game I saw him against the Broncos, and that's the Broncos, but they got the Chargers this week. Mikey, how are you feeling about your matchup as you take on Chad Powers and Miles?
I mean, it's definitely interesting. Like, I'm going with Kirk Cousins again this week.
You were not happy with his performance last week.
I wasn't, man. I felt he underperformed, but, you know, Dak has a bad history against the 49ers, and especially, you know, the fact that this, you know, is on the road. I just don't like it. And so Cousins had like 80-something against Tampa the last time, and quarterbacks against Tampa's D has worked. So
you mean Lamar Jackson?
I mean anybody. I mean, like I said, Tampa Bay, like they've been torched by basically every quarterback outside of Jalen Hurts that they've played. So, you know, I think that's the direction that I'm going. You know, it's an interesting matchup. I mean, Chad Powers' team is not that bad, other than you know Justin Herbert.
Herbert's been less than stellar, although he had his best week against me this week. But that was his first time he reached 40 points this season, and that was Arizona, who's bad.
Yeah, his team. I'm worried about that tight end, man. I don't like any tight ends against Jacksonville. They always kill it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Hunt is the lead guy for the Chiefs. And if Patrick Mahomes ain't playing well, it's the running back who's doing well.
See, I think this is the week that Mahomes does play well.
You think so?
The Raiders' defense is awful. They were calling him Kermit the Frog in the preseason. I think he has a reason to just want to beat the living crap out of him.
There you have it, man. Heading into Week 8. What's happening? This NFL season. It's been fun. Been crazy, but here we are. Well, gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show. Wow, we reached over an hour today. Rolling, lots to talk about. So make sure everyone check out those injuries. There's a lot of them out there. And Thursday night football. I have to work soccer, so I guess I'll be hearing it from everyone else about how things are going, or if my phone's not going off and off. And Kyron Williams must not be doing well, but he has a touchdown in 9 straight games. So let's hope he makes it 10. For Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on this MHA podcast.